Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen to my review of Alien Earth Season 1, Episode 3, Metamorphosis. I really enjoyed this episode. Highlights specifically are the expansions to the lore, the mythos, and also the Xenomorph's Lifecycle, which we'll get to, of course. Now, major caveat is this could work and not be a canon-breaking adventure. Or it could be completely canon breaking. It really is dependent on how they stick the landing. I'm not going to get my knickers in a twist just yet. Okay, the sand is firmly out of my vagina for now. I'm going to wait and see on how they stick the landing, because that is crucial. How they stick the landing is crucial to whether this completely destroys the canon or not. But it could go either way. And I'm hoping that it's going to be a good one. So, what happened? Well, we basically continue right from where we left off. You've got Kirsch and the Lost Boys in the ship, and you've got Wendy chasing after her brother, Hermit. Now, Wendy finds her brother. Her brother is in a shipping container, and the Xenomorph has laid a trap. The Xenomorph has laid a trap for Wendy, presumably. And we'll get to that in a minute. But this also plays really nicely into, what one previous elements of the canon and the lore anyway, was that the Xenomorphs excrete the sort of resin-like substance from their mouths. Because Hermit is encased against the wall in the resin-like substance. You know, the resin-like substance that was in Aliens, the hive substance, basically, that they, encase victims in for the facehuggers. And Hermit is like, no, it's coming back. Marcy, obviously he's calling her Marcy. Marcy, it's coming back. Anyway, Wendy does battle with the Xenomorph. And I guess in that regard, it does go some way to explaining maybe why the Xenomorph has been playing with Hermit so much, because it's using him tactically to get to Wendy. Now, I'd have to go back and watch episode 1 and 2. It may not be the case, and he may have just been, having a bit of plot armor. But at least in this instance, it makes sense as to why the Xenomorph was playing with Hermit, because it was trying to get Wendy, which we'll explain a little bit later. But good action. The Xenomorph being hyper intelligent, laying traps, fantastic. It's not a mindless bug. It's interesting because a lot of people have an issue with the Xenomorph being a killer, killing loads of people. I've seen the comments in episode 1 and 2 reviews is that they have an issue with it. Now, I think this is a happy medium, hopefully, for those people, because it's not a mindless killer. It's laying traps for people. It wants certain people for certain reasons. It wants Wendy. And I think that's really interesting. It's good that it shows the Xenomorph not merely as a mindless killer, which obviously it had it as a ferocious killer in episode 1 and 2, but now a truly intelligent foe, right? A good enemy that anyone would, poop your pants facing off against, basically. But I really liked that. Anyway, Wendy, snags it with a hook, chucks it, hacks it up, but gets damaged in the process. And so does Hermit. Hermit gets stabbed, in fact, in the process. And they obviously have to go get airlifted to safety, which they do. Meanwhile, Morrow finds his way down to where all the eggs are. And this is where a really key piece of information comes out, is that the Maginot did visit a faraway moon. Now, we don't know if it's LV-426 yet. We don't know. Logic is that it is, right? I'm hoping we'll learn and we'll get told that it is LV-426, because I think that would be interesting. And it goes some way to explaining why Weyland-Yutani in the first movie shipped out Ash, swapped the science officers out at last minute, because these events, continue right up until that, basically, and they send Ash instead. Now, I think that could work, and I think it could be really, really good. Or alternatively, they go the other direction, and that the Maginot has been to another faraway moon. I don't see an issue with there being multiple moons with alien eggs on them. I don't have an issue with that. But logic is that this will be 426, LV426, and that will be referenced. But it was really interesting. You know, it's really interesting to hear that the Maginot been there, he'd captured the eggs, and he set them free. Basically, it sounds like he did it. It's a really interesting interaction. Morrow, I think, will be a fascinating character to watch during this series, because later in this episode he has a conversation with Ms. Yutani explaining that, you know, he has nothing left. The world that he once had is no longer. In fact, he is a father. He had a child, and he doesn't have anything anymore. He's got nothing to lose. The specimens is his life's work, and he will get them back. But I think he'll be a fascinating character to watch, because he's not quite human. He's not quite machine. He's something in between. He's a cyborg. And what we're watching here is 3 artificial intelligences to a degree. We're watching Kirsch, the synthetic, watch over the hybrids with an element of disgust. You can see him. He sort of despises some of their human traits. And again, similar with the cyborg. You know, he's watching over them probably with an element of, you could put me in a synthetic body. I could be fully robot. I could be fully machine. I want some of that. So he's looking at them with an element of admiration or desire. Not like that, obviously. Envy, I guess, would be the right word. And then the hybrids, of course, are just trying to muddle their way through their life and understand quite what they are. And I think that'll be a really compelling, you know, plot threads moving forwards. That's just my take home from that. Anyway, Kirsch faces off with Morrow. Morrow runs away, basically, because he doesn't want to get got by a facehugger. He comes down and is around the eggs and so on and so forth. Anyway, moving on. We then see one of the hybrids. I can't remember the woman's name, the hybrid's name, but she is questioning whether Wendy is Boy Cavalier's favourite. And it's really interesting. You can see her becoming what Boy Cavalier wants. You know, a worthy conversationist, a worthy intellectual threat. And she even says it, I think I could be you. I think I could be better than you. This is what I mean. I think this stuff will be really, really interesting moving forwards. I think it could be genuinely fascinating. Really fascinating. And then comes our party piece. And I will get back to some other plot threads in a minute. But then comes our party piece. Is the new element of the life cycle. Now, Kirsch, armed with 2 of his lost boys, they're taking apart one of the ovomorphs. They've got 6 from what I can see. And they're taking apart one of the ovomorphs to get to the facehugger. They dissect the facehugger. Not overly sure how or how they've gotten around that with the acid blood, but whatever. You know, it's not a ship in the middle of space. They've obviously got a little bit more capabilities here, so I don't begrudge them being able to do it when previous ones weren't able to. It's a fully stocked science lab. I would imagine they've got some form of composite material that is acid resistant. I don't think that that's a massive stretch, quite frankly. Anyway, here's the new element of the life cycle. It looks to be that it is revealed anyway that within the facehugger, the embryo is almost, it's like a I don't know what you would call it. The embryo is fully functional. The facehugger lays a tadpole-like creature, I guess, a see-through tadpole-like creature in the host. Now, I'm guessing that is what it is. Failing that, it may be that the facehuggers have a parasite, and what we're seeing is the parasite. I don't think that is the case. I think what we've seen here is an expansion to the alien life cycle, is that the facehugger puts this little embryonic parasite, I'm guessing, in a host, and that then develops, right? Like, we knew that it lays an embryo, so I'm guessing that the embryo is is able to live outside of of its host, because it does, at least momentarily. And then Kirsch puts it in a tank with Hermit's lung, which was stolen from him. Amazingly. And I presume there's going to be other body parts that is going to be stolen from Hermit, and that will become a point of contention between Wendy and Boy Cavalier and things like this. Maybe, who knows? We'll see. It's fascinating though, either way. And it burrows into the lung, and that's what we see that is in one of the trailers. Wendy looks at this sort of lung in a specimen jar, and something pops out. That's what it is. That's what pops out. This embryonic xenomorph thing. It's interesting. It's really, really interesting. Now, that doesn't necessarily destroy the lore or the canon. It's an expansion, which we just have never seen before. So I think it could work. It's dependent on how they stick the landing. Like I said, we will see. But it's fascinating nonetheless. Now, Wendy had said in one of the trailers that they're talking to her. And we do see that. We do see she is somehow connected to the xenomorphs. We don't know how, we don't know why. It's not explained. But she feels their pain. All of the facehuggers are connected. So it goes some way from the expanded lore to the hive mind. Somehow she's part of the hive mind. I don't know how or why or what. Maybe that's why the xenomorph was trying to get her, presumably. No idea. It's not explained, and presumably that's going to be an ongoing plot thread, and it'll be an interesting one. I don't hate it yet. It is taken from the expanded universe, the hive mind, and I will be very, very intrigued to see where they go with it. So, good episode. Ends with a bit of Metallica, which, I used to be a metalhead, so I don't hate that. I'm very intrigued to see what happens with this. Very, very intrigued to see what happens with this. Morrow has implanted one of the Lost Boys with some form of communication device, and he's trying to befriend it, the hybrid, trying to be a buddy, obviously to infiltrate the base. But yeah, I'm really keen to see what happens here. I'm really, really interested with this. The Xenomorph actually looked much better. I don't know why it looked so terrible the first episode. Bloody awful. The set design's great. The cinematography's good. I'm all in. I'm very excited. Now, make no mistake, they could completely destroy the lore. They could completely destroy the canon and also the alien life cycle. We don't know yet. It all remains to be seen. We'll have to see what happens. But as it stands right now, looking promising. It's looking promising. So there you go. If you've seen it, what do you guys think? Let me know down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe for weekly Alien Earth reviews. As you can tell, probably by the various paraphernalia items, I'm an Alien fan. Anyway, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye now.